let's talk about Casey Poe, this 6'5", 290-pound beast, absolute stud of a kid. He's a 4-star across the board, the number 2 interior offensive lineman in most places, John. But every time this guy talks to a recruiting writer and he's asked about Auburn, he just gushes about how much he loves Hugh Freeze, how much he loves offensive line coach Thornton, how much he loves everything that they're doing on the Plains. How much are you buying into this right now? Because not a whole lot of people are really giving Auburn any kind of love or any kind of chances with Poe's recruitment.
Yeah, look, Poe's recruitment is really on the ascent, right at this moment, right? His junior tape got out; it was really good. Just check that out again this morning. He's got a whole lot of versatility to his game. I know he's an interior projection, plays tackle on every down on Friday nights, and a balanced offense. There's a lot of great run and pass blocking samples, and there's just not a lot of guys that have that on their resume, before their senior season. So you could see why that tape circulating and him making visits on top of it as these schools verify his size can lead to a really big uptick from a recruiting perspective. So yeah, he's visiting a lot of schools and picking up a bunch of offers. So it's hard to peg, hey, who's really in the running for this thing? But I think when you start talking about a hot recruit planning visits and Auburn coming up, I think that's where you start to see the interest. And we know with the Walker White recruitment, to bring it back to him,
right,
those things can change very quickly once you get on campus. And I think you're going to see a lot of that relative to Jake Thornton, because he's a guy who has had to recruit, beyond the traditional footprint at previous stops. And he's already doing that at Auburn, pretty much hitting the ground running. And clearly he's built a relationship with Poe, and now he's reciprocating with this visit. So you let the chips fall where they may after that point. But when you're an offensive lineman, you want to see an exciting offense. That is theoretically, set in stone here at Auburn, at least from a vision perspective.
Right.
And you want to see that element of balance, right? And we think this offense is going to look pretty balanced here going forward. And Thornton comes from that type of system at Ole Miss as well. So he's got something to sell. I want to say that relationship was kicked off before Thornton made the move to Auburn. So you've already got some history there with your potential future offensive line coach. And usually those things, uptick a little bit when you actually get the FaceTime and you get on campus. So once that visit goes down in March, I think we'll get a better idea. But there's not a lot of schools on his list. There's 4 or 5 that he's planning to visit, and it's kind of quiet after that. So again, these things can change in very short order. So to be on the upcoming visit list alone is a big deal for Poe, because like you said, he's a really strong recruit with a high floor, and his stock is only rising here as we get into kind of the bulk of spring ball and everyone really focusing on this class.
Yeah, I watched his tape earlier today too, John, just getting ready for this conversation, and I couldn't stop comparing him in my head to Braden Smith, the former Auburn standout.
Yeah.
I think there's a lot of similarities. I think Braden was a perfect fit off the field. I don't know Casey Poe off the field. It's hard to pick that up without talking to the kid. But as far as on the field, I saw a lot of comparisons there.
Yeah, Braden Smith, the guy who played a ton of tackle in high school,
right,
moved inside, and there was a lot of conversation around that. I remember in that recruitment, but my goodness, you talk about working out for all involved. It really did with Braden Smith. So you could see that, a guy who's, again, Braden was known for leverage and what he did at the point of contact. Same 2 things you see when you first start popping in that Poe video. So I like that on the surface level, because that's really what he's known for. He's known for moving bodies, and it sounds funny because that's what O-linemen are supposed to do, but not all of them are known. And most of them, we talk about projecting 2, 3, 4 years down the line. Poe is on the front end of that with the higher floor, much like we used to talk about with Braden Smith. So,
yeah, I mean,
interesting comp.
He's taller, a little bit leaner too. I think body type wise, they're a little bit similar.